ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासाहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण
Krishna,
कृष्ण हरे
Hare
हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you
Hare
for
Krishna.
joining in on this Wednesday evening. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is the creation of the universal form. And the text for today is text 30, Prabhuji. So 30, 30.
30 or 10? Oh, just a minute. Yeah, 30. Okay. So I'll read the Sanskrit and the translation. Narayan Namaskrityam Dharam Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Nadhirita Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seveya Bhagavate Yutam Shloki Bhakti Bhavtina Ashtaki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So text 30. Mukhato Vartata Brahma Purusasya Kuru Dvaha Yash Tun Mukha Tvad Varnanam Mukhyo Bhud Brahmano Guru. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. Sri Prabhupada ki jai. O chief of the Kuru dynasty, the Vedic wisdom became manifested from the mouth of the Virat, the gigantic form. Those who are inclined to this Vedic knowledge are called Brahmanas, and they are the natural teachers and the spiritual masters of all the orders of society. Okay, carry on, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Peter Prabhu, would you like to read the purport? Hare Krishna. It's a long purport. Maybe I can start and then somebody can take over.
Somebody can read one paragraph.
Hare Krishna, I can read Mataji with your permission.
Sure. Go ahead.
1 second, I am opening it.
Let me start and then you can continue. It's a long purport.
3-6-30.
Yeah, 3-6-30.
Okay, please start, Mataji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, the four orders of human society developed with the order of the body of the gigantic form. The bodily divisions are the mouth, arms, waist, and legs. And those who are situated on the mouth are called Brahmanas. Those who are situated on the arms are called Kshatriyas. Those who are situated on the waist are called Vaishyas. And those who are situated on the legs are called Shudras. Everyone is situated in the body of the Supreme in his gigantic Vishwa Rupa form. In terms of the four orders, therefore, no caste is to be considered degraded because of being situated on a particular part of the body. In our own bodies, we do not show any actual difference in our treatment towards the hands or legs. Each and every part of the body is important, although the mouth is the most important of the bodily parts. If other parts are cut off from the body, a man can continue his life, but if the mouth is cut off, one cannot live. Therefore, this most important part of the body of the Lord is called the sitting place of Brahmanas, who are inclined to the Vedic wisdom. One who is not inclined to the Vedic wisdom, but to the mundane affairs, cannot be called a Brahmana, even if he is born of a Brahmana family or father. To have a Brahmana father does not qualify one as a Brahmana. The main qualification of the Brahmana is to be inclined to the Vedic wisdom. The Vedas are situated on the mouth of the Lord, and therefore anyone who is inclined to the Vedic wisdom is certainly situated on the mouth of the Lord, and he is Brahmana. This inclination towards Vedic wisdom is also not restricted to any particular caste or community. Anyone from any family and from any part of the world may become inclined to the Vedic wisdom, and that will qualify him as a real Brahmana.
A real Brahmana is a natural teacher or spiritual master. Unless one has Vedic knowledge, one cannot become a spiritual master. The perfect knowledge of the Vedas is to know the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the end of Vedic knowledge or Vedanta. One who is situated in the impersonal Brahman and has no information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead may become a Brahmana, but he cannot become a spiritual master. It is said in Padma Puran. Satkarma nipuno vipro mantra tantra visharadaha Avaishnavo Gurur na Sayad Vaishnava Swapako Guru. An impersonalist can become a qualified Brahmana, but he cannot become a spiritual master unless and until he is promoted to the stage of a Vaishnava or a devotee of a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya, the great authority of Vedic wisdom in the modern age, stated Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Sudra Kene Naya Kei Krishna Tattvaveta Sei Guru Haya. A person may be a Brahmana or a Sudra or a sannyasi, but he happens to be well versed in the science of Krishna. Then he is fit to become a spiritual master. Madhya Leela 8:128. The qualification then of a spiritual master is not to be a qualified Brahmana, but to be well versed in the science of Krishna. One who is conversant with Vedic wisdom is a Brahmana, and only a Brahmana who is a pure Vaishnava and knows all the intricacies of the science of Krishna can become a spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, I'll repeat the verse. O chief of the Kuru dynasty, the Vedic wisdom became manifested from the mouth of the Virat. Virat means the gigantic universal form. Those who are inclined to this knowledge are called Brahmanas, and they are natural teachers and spiritual masters of all the orders of society. So Sri Prabhupada quotes in the first line, Chaturvarnya Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasham. That human society, I have created these natural divisions. Yes, we all human beings are one. We all come under the level of human being. But you'll find human beings in 4 categories. The intellectuals are called Brahmanas. The administrators are called the Kshatriyas. And the business class are called the Vaishyas. And the labor class is called the Sudras. So in this way, everyone is a part of this universal form or the gigantic form. The head, the Brahmin represents the head of the universal form. The arms are the Kshatriyas, the belly is the Vaishyas, and the legs are the Sudras. Every part of the body is important. One cannot say that legs are not important, because without moving anywhere, without working, the body cannot be maintained. And also belly is important, because in belly, the food is digested. So we need the belly. Chest and the arms are also important to defend our body. And the head remains the most important. That's why it says here that the head represents the Brahmanas. Who are Brahmanas? Or who can be called Brahmanas? If you go back to the verse, it says, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. It doesn't say Guna Karma Janma. It says Guna Karma. By quality and by work, one can fit in the classification of a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Later on, as we read Bhagavatam, Narad Muni explains very clearly to Maharaj Yudhishthira, if one has the quality of a Brahmana, then he is a Brahmana. His birth should not be taken into consideration. So, the same principle is that of a Kshatriya, and of a Vaishya, and of a Sudra. So, who is a Brahmana? Brahmana means one, Brahma Janat Neti Brahmana. One who knows Brahma. Brahma means absolute truth. He is a Brahmana. And it literally means you can't know Brahma without studying the Vedas. So the Vedas, when they are learned by a class of people who are in the mode of goodness, Brahmanas generally are in the mode of goodness. Because if you are not in the mood of goodness, you cannot assimilate knowledge. In the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called the 3 gunas, explained the 3 qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance. The quality of a goodness is it brings about happiness. Senses can perceive knowledge properly. In the mode of passion, it can't. In the mode of passion, because one is full of desires, he cannot assimilate knowledge. The Vaishyas are between the mode of passion and ignorance. So they have that wit to perform business or to perform farming and to take care of the cows. And the Sudras do labor to the upper 3 society. This is how a society has been designed by the Lord himself. Many people in some past few years, they become rebellious and say, oh, what is this caste system? Of course, this caste system was dismantled by caste-conscious Brahmana. They claim that only those who are born in the Brahmin families can become Brahmanas. That is what ruined the whole system. Even Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, then when he started giving Brahmin initiation after good training, many Smarta Brahmanas from India took objection. He said, oh, how can you give initiation to people who are originally meat eaters? And Prabhupada said, refer to the scriptures. If you go to the scriptures, it doesn't say that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes it very clear. If one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, definitely will get a Brahminical training. And after a long Brahminical training, he can become a Vaishnava. So one should know the difference between a Vaishnava and a Brahmana. Brahma janeteti Brahmana, And those who worship Vishnu are called Vaishnavas. A very clear difference. There is a remarkable turning point in the life of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Once Bhaktivinoda Thakur was invited by Brahmanas and Vaishnavas because there was some conflict. The Brahmanas considered themselves to be superior than even the Vaishnavas. Now, on that particular day, Sripad Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not feeling well, so he sent his son, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, to go and give a talk. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj gave a talk. The very first part of the talk was that because of Brahmanas, everyone is happy. If there were no Brahmanas, there'll be no happiness on this planet. Because Brahmana knows the Vedas, and without Vedas, they cannot be happy. You'll find that even in today's life, if you remove Vedas from your life, the immediate result is illusion, moha, illusion, and at once you'll be driven or captured by the illusion energy. And immediate result will be sense enjoyment and sensual pleasure. And without sense control, you don't expect the society to be happy. There will be a strong passion in the society, a lot of ignorance in society, just like the Western society. The mode of passion and a lot of ignorance is so much common that they do not, when they see any woman, they see her an object of pleasure. There's no control over senses. They eat anything, they drink anything, they speak anything. And the whole world is crazy behind Vedic culture, including our Indian people. If you go to the cities like Delhi or Mumbai, big cities, you find that you hardly find Indian culture is dying because they've adapted or they've embraced Western values. Now, Western values look very good superficially, but in depth, there is nothing. So, if the Vedas are brought again back, this is one of the purpose of ISKCON, to bring about the Vedas. One of the lines in the constitution of ISKCON is to discern between matter and spirit, to discern between illusion and reality. Now, nobody can do that unless one is a Brahmana. One cannot become a Brahmana if he has not studied the Vedas. So it is not the birth that is important, it is the training that is important. Many times we have heard this example, Srila Prabhupada gives the famous example, that if someone is a magistrate or a judge in the court, it doesn't mean his child is also a magistrate or a judge. Not possible. Unless he undergoes training. Now, how to make Brahmanas is to train them. In our ISKCON, one of the features of ISKCON is to train people to become Brahmanas, because the world is lacking Brahmanas. Without Brahmanas means no guidance in the society. Vedic society is designed in such a way that the society is protected by one, by another, by another. For example, those who become sannyasis, they protect the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas protect the society by giving Vedic knowledge. Kshatriyas defend society with courage and strength. The Vaishyas protect cows and protect the society by keeping economically strong. And the Sudras, they render service. So it's like one umbrella over another, over another. In this way, it's a protected society. So if the Varnashram is brought back, then you'll find people will live a very happy life, a very, very happy life. Because it's a free life. And a life in which, how do you become free? When you realize your constitutional position. First of all, before you understand constitutional position, you have to know what is matter and what is spirit. In the Vedic culture, everybody knew Atma. But in the Western culture, hardly anyone knows what is Atma. Even if you go today, even a street sweeper, if you tell him what is Atma, he can explain to you. That's why there's more peace in the Vedic society. Because simply understanding Atma and Paramatma and their relationships, one becomes a very knowledgeable person. Now, this is the basic training which has to be given from a very young age. Prahlad Maharaj explains at length the education which should be given to our children. One of the first verses says, Kaumara Pragya Acharit Dharma Bhagavatam Iha Dullabha Manasha Janma. This human life is very rare. And if you have a human life, train your children from the age of 5 and teach them what is body, what is soul, what is the Hare Krishna mantra, and who is Sri Prabhupada. At least these things must be taught to your children if you can't teach them more. Of course, those who stay near the ISKCON, we have the Sunday school, and children attend and they learn so many things in a very short time. So who is a real Brahmana? Brahmanas are born from the mouth of the Virat. Here Sri Prabhupada says, without a mouth, nothing, the body cannot exist. Imagine your head is cut off, the body is dead. If you see a motorcycle man, before he starts his motorcycle, he puts on a helmet. In case there's an accident, his brain will be protected. Why? Because this part of the body is most important. And some of the most prominent senses are in the head. Would anybody like to answer? Which are the main senses situated on our head, which are always using? Which are the senses? Hare Krishna. Somebody likes to try. We have eyes situated on the head, nostrils on the head, ears on the head, mouth on the head, and the brain. Of course, brain is not a sense, but most knowledge-gathering senses are situated here. The power to see, the power to smell, the power to speak, the power to taste, and the power to hear. Sabda, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Everything, all the senses are situated here. Imagine if you did not have these senses, what will happen? You'd be like a ghost. And you'd be like a dead man, literally. If a person doesn't have eyes, then the charm of his life is gone. And he prays to the Lord, why have I become blind? If someone can't hear, at least 40% of his life is gone. Similarly, the smelling power, the smelling sense is not there. That's why Brahmanas are most important. It is through Brahmanas we learn the Vedas. The word Veda means knowledge. How many of you have read Ishopanishad? Anybody? Hare Krishna. How many of you have read Ishopanishad? It doesn't matter in English, Hindi, or Gujarati. Yes? Anybody? No one?
I've read Ishopanishad.
Okay.
I have read Ishopanishad.
This is one of the books I would say you should read first. Because the very introduction Sri Prabhupada gives is so nice that it opens all the dimensions of knowledge of your life. That's why Sri Prabhupada deliberately translated the entire Ishopanishad, 18 verses. But the introduction is so good that one can understand what is Vedas. And this is the first point Sri Prabhupada teaches. What is Vedas in Ishopanishad? Very first thing. And then he continues so many things. So anyway, Brahmins become important. And you must have heard the famous verse. Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmanaya Hitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namana. To Krishna, two kinds of living entities are very dear. The first one are the Brahmanas. And the second one are, in the animal society, are the cows. Both are very dear to Krishna. Why both are dear? Because if there is no Brahmanas, there will be no Vedas taught or preached. and the world or the human race will become like an animal society. And without cows, we can't perform yajna, because we get ghee from cows, we get milk from cows, we get yogurt from cows. Even the urine is important. Everything about cow is important. A cow is a representative of all the demigods. If you study a cow, it's very different from all other animals. Prabhupada says, name an animal which can give you pure milk like that of a cow. No. In India, there are many people accustomed to drink milk from buffalo, or the others who also drink from a camel. In Kenya, we find the Somalis, they drink from camel, they like that milk. Or a goat. But no milk can be compared to that of a cow, because it is the only milk which is suitable for newborn babies, at least for a year or two, because it creates nice brain tissues. That's why Brahmanas are very, very important. And as you read Bhagavad Gita, a Brahman is recognized by his character, by his qualities. You can read the verse number 1842. Samadama titiksha arjamam Gyan Vijnana Ashtikyam. All these qualities are great qualities which only a Brahmin has. Brahmin has an equal vision. He is truthful. He is honest. He has a very strong faith in the Vedas. And he is knowledgeable. And by nature is very quiet. This is a Brahmana. So the first paragraph of the purport explains the importance of four varnas. And among the four varnas, the Brahmins are the most important. And Srila Prabhupada is giving all of us a chance to become a Brahmana. You find devotees come from different backgrounds. They become trained and they can become Brahmanas. They can even recite Sanskrit verses. They can perform yajnas. And this training is by the mercy of our divine grace, His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, His Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Now, who is a Brahmana is explained in more detail. The Brahmana by nature is a teacher. For those who are accustomed to hear Prabhupada lecture, Prabhupada gives in one lecture of Bengal, very recent one, about 100 years ago, that there was a Brahmana in a small town called Krishnanagar. He had just come, and the king gave him a small land. So he built a small hut, and he started teaching children. So once the king was passing by, and he noticed this Brahmin teaching very nicely. So he asked the teacher, "Do you need anything more?" And the Brahmin replied, "No, by grace of Krishna, I have everything. I teach these children and they bring me something. And even if they don't bring me something, they at least bring me rice. And in my compound, there is a tree of tamarind. I think everybody knows tamarind, imli, yeah? So I use those leaves. I cook them with the rice and I eat the rice. I'm happy." So Brahman lives a very simple life and he gives knowledge. You should also know, more poor a Brahmana is, more intelligent he is, Vedic wise. Because it is a curse of Lakshmi that if the Brahmanas tried looking for money, they'll forget their Vedic knowledge. But due to their simple life, they remember the Vedas so clearly, so nicely, and this helps the society. So it says here, Vedanta, or the final part of the Vedas, which was written finally by Shripad Vyasdev. So if one knows impersonal Brahm, but has no information about the person Krishna or Vishnu, then he can become a Brahmana, but he cannot become a Vaishnava or even a spiritual master. That's why this verse is quoted here. Sat karma nipunna vipro, mantra tantra visharada, avaishnava guru na syat, Vaishnava Swapacho Guru. A person, if he knows just the impersonal feature, but if he does not know Krishna and he doesn't worship Krishna, then that Brahmin cannot become a Vaishnava. To become a Vaishnava, one first of all has to become a Brahmana, clean, Sama, Dhamma, Titiksha, Arjuna, and so on. And then till he becomes a worshipper of Lord Vishnu, then he becomes a Vaishnava. And it's only after when he becomes a Vaishnava, he can become a spiritual master, not otherwise. So you not find a spiritual master who is not a Vaishnava. A qualification is that one must be a devotee of Lord Vishnu, a worshipper of Lord Vishnu. He may be 100% Brahmin, clean, but if he is not qualified to worship Lord Vishnu, he cannot become a spiritual master. And the other verse quoted by Sri Prabhupada is Kiva Viprakripana Sudrakenaya Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Sai Guru Aya. If one knows Krishna in Tattvata, Tattvata means in truth, then that person can become a guru, not otherwise. So, one may become a Brahmin or Sudra sannyasi, and if he is well versed in the science of Krishna, he is fit to become a guru. For example, who is our Namacharya? Who is our Namacharya? Anybody can reply? Everybody knows, we speak his name daily. Who is the spiritual master of the holy name?
Haridas Thakur, Prabhu?
Yes. Panchali?
Haridas Thakur?
Who?
Haridas Thakur?
Yes. Very good. So Haridas Thakur is not born in a Brahmin family, he was born in a Muslim family. Some say that he was even born in a Brahmin family, but adopted by a Muslim person. Anyway, by birth is not important. Now, Haridas went on to become so purified by chanting of the holy name that he was posted as a Namacharya by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So imagine from where to where. It is the training, it is the practice that matters. Imagine you are a businessman, you may be doing verses, but slowly your verses will go away if you do not practice Brahminical culture and then actually engage in teaching the Vedas. The knowledge won't have any in-depth. You slowly will forget the in-depth meaning of them. But if you go to a real Brahmin or a Vaishnava, they can teach you the in-depth meaning of it. Just like many people speak on Bhagavad Gita or even Bhagavatam, but you'll find it's only a devotee can explain the purport nicely. Why? Bhagavatam says that anyone who has a faith in one spiritual master and in Krishna, then one can understand the imports of the Vedic scriptures. Otherwise, they remain hidden. So it's very important that we keep up the Brahminical culture by respecting the Brahmanas, creating the Brahmanas or joining to become Brahmanas from ISKCON, so that in future, our future is bright, it won't be dark, temporary. It had become dark. Most of the Brahmanas have become like only Karmakanda Brahman, even in the Hindu society. What to talk about the rest of the society. But now, after coming of ISKCON, new Brahmans have been produced, initiated into Brahmanas, and they can perform even yagyas, sacrifices. To perform a yagya, you have to become a yagnik Brahmana. Because without purity in you and pure pronunciation of the mantras, you cannot become a yagnik Brahmana. In ISKCON, this training is given. So, Kipa Viprakipanasha Sudragenaya, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta, Sai Guru Haya. If one knows Krishna in Tattvata, in detail, or the truth of Krishna, then one can become a spiritual master, not otherwise. So we had one example, Haridas Thakur. And if one wants to be Brahmana, the first quality of a Brahmana that is true, very, very truthful. I think in one of the classes long ago, I had given the example of Satyakam. Satyakam happened to be a son of a maid. And in those days, all the boys would attend Gurukul, and he was also attending Gurukul. Now, one day the spiritual master was initiating some boys to become a Brahmana. So he wanted to become a Brahmana. So spiritual master asked him, "What's the name of your father?" He says, "I don't have a father." He said, "Go and ask your mother, who is your father?" Because in those days, those who were born in Brahmin families were given a training to become a Brahmin. So he went to his mother and asked, "Mother, can you tell me who is my father?" And the mother said, "I don't know who is your father, because after all, I'm just a maid. I know many men." In reality, even the mother did not know whose son he is. She returned to his spiritual master and told him that even my mother doesn't know whose son I am. So spiritual master became a bit annoyed superficially. He says, "Are you not ashamed to speak like this? That even your mother doesn't know whose son are you?" He said, "But that is the truth." He says, "Because of this truthfulness, I will train you as a Brahmana." And he was trained to become a Brahmana. So the first quality of a Brahmana is to be very truthful. So this qualification will lead you to understand the science of Krishna. So two scriptures are very, very important to understand the science of Krishna. The initial is Bhagavad Gita, and the second is the Srimad Bhagavatam. If these two verses are, these two scriptures are studied daily in detail, then one can know what is Krishna. You can't know Krishna by jumping to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, no. You have to study Bhagavatam from the first canto, progressing upwards, first, second, third, fourth, till coming to the 10th canto. Then you know who is Krishna. Then you know Krishna completely. Tattvata. Tattvata means in truth. Because when you say Krishna, it's not just Krishna. You should know his supreme position. You should know his various energies. You should know that all the demigods are empowered by Krishna, and all demigods are working for Krishna. It is from Krishna everything is emanated, and it is in him everything will go back, and it is him who maintains everything. If you go to Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 9, verse number 3, it says that before me, before the creation, I was there. I'm here even when the creation is there. Even when this creation will be annihilated, I will still be there. This is the truth of Krishna. We all may not be here. This earth may not be here. All these planets, stars, sun may not be there. But Krishna will always be there. If you know this much truth, it means you know at least 25% of what is Krishna. And later on, the Bhagavatam also explains in the same line that whatever you see in existence, if it is not related to me, it is an illusion. And that everything comes into me, and yet everything is not one with me. That is the famous philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, known as simultaneous oneness and simultaneous difference. And the fourth one says, one need not need to worship more, learn more than that. Everything is included in these four verses. So these are the root verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. By learning them, one can become not just a Brahmana, but even a Vaishnava. So take your time, learn the scriptures very nicely. And to learn the scriptures, you ought to have mercy of a spiritual master. Go to a spiritual master. Go to some devotees who know them. Then ultimately accept a spiritual master. Learn from them very nicely. For example, Sukadeva Goswami is the son of Vyasdev. He knew Brahman knowledge very well. He was an Atmaram. He did not need to know anywhere. or anything more. But when he heard Bhagavatam, he completely changed. He realized that the Brahma Gyan is nothing in front of the knowledge of Bhagavan, knowledge of Krishna. That's why Bhagavatam became very dear to him, because Vyasadeva taught. And because of Vyasadeva teaching him, Sukadeva Goswami spoke Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit at a very critical time, which released Maharaj Parikshit or freed Maharaj Parikshit to go back home, back to Godhead. On the other hand, because he recited Bhagavatam, even Sukadeva Goswami went back home, back to Godhead at the end of his life. So this is the beauty of becoming a Brahmana and then becoming a Vaishnava. So both the paragraphs or the whole verse is teaching us. I read the verse again. O chief of the Kuru dynasty, the Vedic wisdom became manifested from the mouth of Virat. Virat means universal form or the gigantic form. Those who are inclined to this Vedic knowledge are called Brahmanas. And they are natural teachers and spiritual masters of all the orders of society. Whatever scriptures you see in this world, directly or indirectly, all come from the Vedas. Hare Krishna. Time is up. I'll open the floor for questions, or if you have any additions.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, thank you so much for today's session, and I learned so many new things, and especially that first you become a Brahmana and then a Vaishnava. I think what we are made to believe is that you are a Vaishnava. You are a Vaishnava, you are a Vaishnava, and you don't even know what you are. But Brahmana is somebody who can recite or who has learned the Vedic scriptures and then is able to impart. That is a Brahmana. And once you become a Brahmana, then you will be elevated to become a Vaishnava. So with the guidance from your spiritual master. So thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from the group?
Hare Krishna, Mataji Prabhuji. Yes, I have a question, please, if that's okay.
Yes, yes.
So, Prabhuji, I live in London, and we
Can you
have.
speak louder? Your voice is very low.
Can
Or
you
come
hear me
closer to
better?
your, what do you call it?
Can you
Okay,
hear me?
speak.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, a bit better, yes.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, I live in London, and we
Mm,
have various pujas over here. So, say, for example, right now it's the Navratri going on, and then we have Durga Puja coming up. Now,
yes,
sometimes proper Brahmins, they are not found over here. So in some
yes.
of the puja places, they just get someone who's born into a Brahmin family, and then that person reads the mantras from books. Now,
Mm.
is that an offense, or is that, I mean, because nobody else is available, so rather than any random person doing the pujas, they appoint a pujari who's born into a Brahmin family, but they can, so they are initiated, they've done the, they have their threads and all, and then they read the mantras from a book. Is that practice, how does Krishna accept
It's not a very
practice?
perfect practice,
Yeah.
but it's a hereditary. They are Brahmanas born in Brahmin families. And at the most, they can do karma kanda. Even karma kanda has to be learned. Now, if no one is available, at least a karma kanda Brahman can recite some verses. It is acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And when you talk of different pujas,
Mm-hmm.
Vaishnavas don't do all those pujas. Only karma kanda Brahmanas do pujas. For example, like some people will say that we want to worship Ganesh. Maybe Ganesh is worshipped by everyone. So if no one is available, then a devotee may worship Ganesh on their behalf. And of course, in our worship also, we do worship Ganesh, but in a different way. We worship Ganesh as one of the Vaikuntha Vasis. He is a deity of Vaikuntha, and he's serving Krishna. And Ganesha gets his powers from Lord Nrsimhadev. So our way of understanding Ganesh and worship is completely different. And in Durga Puja, we are not involved. Because many people ask a simple question like, who is Durga? And recently, in a house program, they asked me, who is Durga? Durga means Navratri is just coming. So explain to me, Durga is a reflection of Radharani. In the material world, everything is perverted. Yeah. So she gets power. Origin of Durga or any Devi is Radharani. Yeah. Now that doesn't mean that we go and worship Durga. No. But at least we have this knowledge, who is Durga. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Anyway, we take Prabhupada's advice. We don't need to worship anyone else. By worshipping Krishna, we worship everyone else. Everything is inclusive. And by worship of Radharani, we ask for her mercy. Even chanting Hare Krishna, we are praying to Radharani, please engage me in the service of Krishna.
She got the right one. All of this.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Anybody else has a question? Okay, if no one has a question, we can just wind up.
Yes, we can wind up. Peter Prabhu, are you able to wind up the session for today? Hare Krishna. Or Indulekha Mataji, are you able to wind up the session for today?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this nice explanation. Also clearing the doubt about the Durga Puja and the Brahmana and the Vaishnavas. We know that a Brahmana can become a Brahmana cannot be like equal to a Vaishnava, whereas a Vaishnava can be more than a Brahmana, as you explained yourself. Also, we see you are talking about Ganeshji. Yeah, in Brahma Samhita, verse 50, what does he say? That pada pallave yugam vinidhaya kumbhe dvandve pranama samayata dhanadhiraja vignan vihanti malam vasya jagatrayasya govindam maripurusham tamaham bhajami. He is praying to Govinda to get the energy to carry his duty in this material world. So if we can pray to Govinda ourselves, why do we have to pray to Ganesha? Right? Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for this nice class. I would request, please kindly, if you can all unmute and chant the Maha Mantra one time in glorification of his grace, Rukma Prabhuji. Please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnavin ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Guru Maharaj ki jai, His Grace Rukma Prabhu ki jai, Agurit Yatra ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Indulekha Mataji.